Good reading habits. In a quiet little village, there lived a girl named Lila who loved stories. She would spend her free time listening to stories told by her mother. However, she didn't always know how to read properly. Sometimes she would rush through pages, skip difficult words, and other times she would forget what she had just read. One day, Lila was sitting at a school bench to try and enjoy a book that she had just borrowed from the school library. Her teacher, Mr. Rahman, was walking to his next class when he noticed that Lila was struggling to sound out the words while she was reading. He smiled, reached into his work bag, and took out a small notebook. He proceeded to hand it over to Lila. "Lila," he said, "reading isn't just about finishing a book. You need to understand every sentence and get the whole picture." Lila stared blankly at Mr. Rahman, not sure what to say. He then continued, "Here are 3 simple things you could do. First, read a little every day. Keep going and don't stop. Second, ask questions while you're reading the book. Ask about the details, ask about the reasons, ask how, and ask why. Lastly, keep a reading journal. After you're done reading for the day, write about what you feel and what you've learned from the book. If you found new words that you don't understand, write them down and look up the meaning of those words." At first, Lila wondered why Mr. Rahman had said all those things to her. Nevertheless, she got home that day and followed all the advice that Mr. Rahman had given her. The first advice wasn't hard at all. She had been reading every day, so she just had to keep doing that. The second advice, though, was quite challenging. After reading a paragraph, she tried asking questions to herself about what happened in there. But because she had trouble understanding some of those words, she couldn't answer some of her own questions. Then she remembered Mr. Rahman's third advice, which was the reading journal. So she took out her notebook, started copying down the words that she hadn't seen before. Then she took out her laptop and started searching the meaning of those words on Google. After she had learned the meaning of those words, she then could start answering some of her own questions. But she wasn't done, as there was one last step that Mr. Rahman had given her, and that was to write down what she had read about the story in her notebook. Because she finally understood what she had read, she was very excited, and so she wrote down exactly how she felt. "I finally understood the story," she happily wrote on the page. This is how her daily routine looked like. Every day, she would pick up a simple storybook, started reading, wrote down the words she didn't know, looked up the meanings, started asked questions about the story, and finally reflecting about the story in her notebook. Slowly but surely, Lila felt that she had made improvements and built a reading habit. One day, Lila was sitting in her English class listening to Mr. Rahman's questions about a story that they were supposed to read for an assignment. He looked around the class to nominate a student to answer his question. Who can explain why the main character decided to return the money that she had found? He posed the question to the entire class. Everyone remained totally silent and just stared back at Mr. Rahman. After what seemed like an eternity, a hand was raised. Mr. Rahman felt very relieved. But when he realized that it was Lila's hand that was raised, his relief turned into a pleasant surprise. Lila took some time putting her words together before finally saying, I think she wanted to do the right thing. That's why she decided to return the money." This time, the class was silent again, but it was a different kind of silence. Everyone looked to Lila's direction, their eyes wide with shock. Then, murmurs began to fill up the classroom. Mr. Rahman couldn't help but to smile proudly. Very good, Laila. It looks like you understood what you have read from the book. Hearing that, a smile appeared on Laila's face. After class, all of her classmates gathered around Laila and began asking questions. Wow, Laila, you understood the story. Wow, Laila, how did you do that? Without missing a beat, Laila explained to her friends what she had learned from Mr. Rahman. She was very happy to share her success with her friends and also hoped to inspire her friends to pick up reading as a habit. That evening, when she got home, she didn't pick up a normal storybook like she usually would. Instead, she went into her bag, took out her reading journal, she flipped to a new page, picked up a pencil, and began writing. Reading isn't just about finishing a book and calling it a day. It takes practice, perseverance, and patience to have truly read a book.